The Firesign Theater, famous comedian school, is proud to present,
for your edification,
the downright awe-inspiring, never-before-witnessed historical pageant,
Thanksgiving, or
Pass the Indian, Please.
Or Thanksgiving, or
none of the above.
Now over there we have some merchants and settlers and pilgrims and trappers, all dressed funny in funny hats with buckles on their shoes, and the soldiers in armor.
Just folks. And over there we have some Indians, all dressed up and looking like Currier and Ives.
Guardians of this sacred land.
And in betwixt this sumptuous feast, untouched as yet by hand of man.
Yum, yum.
The leader of the white man speaks.
Let's whop them Indians!
He says,
The Indians, of course, having nothing to say.
don't say nothing.
A typical scene, folks, one which will be repeated thousands of times
In the thousands of times
to come.
Except
This first one was different.
Why did the first one have to be different?
You know, it didn't seem any different at first.
No, one of the soldiers walked over to one of the Indians and throttled him. Well, you can bet this made the folks in the Buckley shoes as proud as punch.
Manifest destiny!
Cried the captain of the ship.
That Indian is good and dead.
Said the minister's wife.
A dead Indian is good.
Cleverly rejoined the captain of the dragoons.
The only good Indian is a dead Indian.
Said a little boy.
And they all applauded.
And they were going to let the little boy eat the Indian's heart.
Yum, yum.
When someone,
I think it was the minister,
reminded them that they were all Christian.
And eating the heart of an Indian isn't really something that Christ would do.
Good.
The Indian didn't say anything because...
Of course.
He was dead.
Good heavens!
Exclaimed the chief of the Indians.
These people not friendly.
Depend on what you mean by friendly.
Said the medicine man.
Depend on what you mean by people.
Said the chief. And he shot an arrow at the soldier, which bounced off the soldier's armor. Clang!
Exclaimed the minister's wife, and she raised up a Buckley musket.
Bang! Said the musket,
And a couple of Indians fell dead, clutching their intestines.
which spilled out on the ground.
Well, folks, this really got things going. There was a lot of shooting and dodging behind trees and skulking and so on.
The Indians killed a few settlers,
And the settlers killed a whole lot of Indians.
And the feast was still untouched.
and it looked as if democracy was to be made safe for America.
When?
All of a sudden, a very strange and unprecedented thing happened.
What happened was...
And this is going to sound pretty strange, folks.
What happened was...
All the white people turned into black people.
Zap!
Like that.
All the white people turned into black people.
Now, you may think this amazed and befuddled the Indians.
Not so.
all the Indians turned into Chinese.
Boom! Oh, this was quite a turn of events, Joel.
I'm black all over.
Cried Goody Proctor.
So they burned her as a witch.
Oh, we felt bad about it thereafter.
When we realized that we were all black too.
Meanwhile, over on the other side of the table...
Things weren't exactly crystal clear either,
I'm yellow all over.
cried the chief.
Not my favorite color.
He said...
My wife thinks it's bitching, though.
Anybody here know yin from yang?
Mused the medicine man.
Well then, folks, a funny thing happened.
All the settlers took off their buckles and they started dancing and decorating each other.
And the Indians contemplated a lot.
And a few days later, someone
I think it was the minister.
said,
What about that war we was a-having?
Here, here!
Shouted the blacks.
What was we fighting about?
I think we's gonna take their land.
said someone,
Unthinkable.
Said the blacks.
And besides,
said someone else.
What do you mean, their land?
You see, being newly repressed members of a minority, they now understood the difference between guardianship
as opposed to ownership,
Of the land.
Well, after a little while, all the black people and the yellow people got together socially.
Hey, Papa, what's happening, baby?
And a little hanky-panky took place amongst the younger folks.
and everything got sort of blended together.
Until one day, they all looked around and there was
Nothing but
Indians. That's right, folks.
Nothing but
Indian!
You see,
Here comes the punchline.
The definition of an Indian is...
a white man
who becomes a black man.
With some yellow added in.
Well, some may say that's an oversimplification.
That's an oversimplification.
But it's better than killing people.
Isn't it?